We talked a lot about the challenges Ontario faces and the solutions our government's offering. Strong economic management, historic investments in infrastructure, getting people into the skilled trades, and building more homes. We also talked a lot about what we've been hearing from the people in our ridings about our decision to open the Greenbelt. Our caucus, they shared with me what they've heard in their communities. I want the people of Ontario to know I'm listening. I made a promise to you that I wouldn't touch the Greenbelt. I broke that promise. And for that, I am very, very sorry. I pride myself on keeping our promises. It was a mistake to open the Greenbelt. It was a mistake to establish a process that moved too fast. This process, it left too much room for some people to benefit over others. It caused people to question our motives. As a first step to earn back your trust, I'll be reversing the changes we made and won't make any changes to the Greenbelt in the future. Because even if you do something for the right reasons, with the best of intentions, it can still be wrong. I've been clear. I believe that opening the Greenbelt could make a big difference. That it would build 50,000 new homes, housing a minimum of 150,000 people. But we moved too quickly and we made the wrong decision. The truth remains, Ontario's growing at an unprecedented speed. And doing more of the same, accepting the status quo, will only make the housing affordability crisis worse. We need to build homes. We need to change the way we build these homes, building more density in growing cities close to transit. Using modular homes to make housing attainable, to build starter homes for young families and newcomers. Holding builders and municipalities accountable to deliver on their commitments to build. Cutting through the red tape to speed up approvals. And I've heard from our municipal partners. They're ready to build. They have the land to do so. After the last few days, our caucus, this cabinet, we've never been more focused on delivering on the promises we made during the last election. Building the 413 and the Bradford bypass. Building Highway 7 and widening Highway 3. Building public transit, Ontario Place, hospitals, and long-term care. Unlocking the economic potential of the Ring of Fire. Ensuring we have the clean energy to continue to bring back our manufacturing industry and the workers we need to fill those jobs. Some of these promises that require hard choices. When faced with making the tough decisions, we'll always choose to do what's right for the people of our province. As I've shown in the past, and as I'm showing you today, when I make a mistake, I'll fix them and I'll learn from them, because that's what I promised I would do. And in the next election, you'll have the chance to decide how I've done, to decide if I've kept my promises, if I got it done. Thank you, and may God bless the people of Ontario. I'd be happy to take questions.
If reporters could please identify yourselves by name and outlet. Just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up.
Premier, it's Richard Southern from City News 680.
Hello, Richard.
Why did it take your entire caucus having to tell you what their constituents were feeling? Why did it take 2 legislative reports? It was clear from the get-go something wasn't right. You admitted that. Why did it take all this for you to reverse this?
Well, thanks for the question, Richard. When you're facing a crisis, no matter if it's a housing crisis or a crisis during the pandemic, and when they came to me and said, this will produce homes and roofs over people's heads for a minimum of 150,000 people, you'll have a hospital, you have long-term care, I felt we needed to move. I've come out here today to admit it was wrong. It was a wrong decision, and that we're putting this land back in the Greenbelt. We're going to continue to be focused 100% on every avenue to build homes for people of this province, the young people that are looking to buy a home, the newcomers that are coming here that want to buy a home. That's not attainable at this point. We're going to continue building homes. Our target is the 1.5 million homes, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Premier is sorry enough. My question is, what consequences should you face for this mess up?
Well, Richard, you know, as the leader of this party, as the leader of this province, you know, I always say not everyone's perfect. And leadership shows if you make a mistake, you come out and admit it. You tell the people what you're going to do to correct it and make sure that happens. And that's what I've done. That's what I've shown when I've made other mistakes. And I'm the first to admit that I'm not perfect. But every intention that I have, no matter if it's building homes or anything else, is the right intention to help the people of Ontario in every aspect, no matter if it's the economy or if it's healthcare or education or building homes. You know, the intent is always there for the right purposes.
Do you think, or are there any concerns you could face legal action from developers who are annoyed at this decision
Well, I can't predict the future, but my main goal is to work with the builders because they're part of the solution. The community builders, as I call them, because they're the ones building the communities, and that's a decision that we've had to make, and I can't determine what the builders are going to do.
Hi, Premier Cynthia Mulligan from City News. I have to ask you, what happened that this has gone so sideways? How did this happen? You've lost 2 ministers, a chief of staff, you're mired in controversy.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, like I've said before, Cynthia, you know, I've come out here earlier on and said the process was not up to par.
But how did that happen? How was the process not up to par?
I'll answer it if you give me a second here. I said before, when the Auditor General's report came out, that the process it was terrible. I admitted it. I saw the mistakes. We took the recommendations. Now we're taking the last recommendation from the Auditor General's report, and we're going to put land back into the Greenbelt. And I'm here to acknowledge it was a mistake. I'm here to apologize to the people, and we're going to move forward and continue building homes.
Premier, this is arguably the worst Ontario government scandal since the gas plants. Many would say it's even worse than that because some stood to gain a lot of money, billions. Has your government become the very thing that you said it never would? The very thing that you criticized about other governments, the elites, the insiders benefiting?
There was no taxpayers' money involved, Cynthia, compared it to the gas plants. Billions of dollars of taxpayers' money were lost. There was not 1 cent of taxpayers' money that was used on the Greenbelt here.
Hi, Premier Mike Crawley from CBC.
Hi, Mike.
It was actually 10 months ago that your cabinet, those people standing behind you, made the decision to remove the land from the Greenbelt.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, What did you guys actually think you were doing? You know, you say now the process wasn't good, but did you not look at that proposal that came forward and say, hey, how did we decide on these lands? And, you know, isn't this really not maybe a good idea? Because I promised I'm not going to touch the Greenbelt. Why did you do it back then, 10 months ago?
Well, thanks for that question, Mike. When you're facing a crisis, we have people sleeping in church basements, up in malls in my area, and as more people are coming, not to mention the asylum seekers that the federal government has basically dropped on our lap to take care of housing, and we're in a crisis, folks. Make no mistake about it. You do things that you might otherwise not to do. The intention was right. We need to build homes. There's now going to be 150,000 people that will not have a roof over their heads, but we're going to continue to build in areas that we can build on. We're going to focus on transit-oriented communities. We're going to focus on modular homes that will be a starter home, will be affordable and attainable. And we're going to make sure that we hit our targets with collaboration through the municipalities, and hopefully the federal government will help out, and the province and the private sector.
Hi, Premier. Laura Stone, Globe and Mail.
Hi, Laura.
You've called the Greenbelt a scam. You said it was drawn up essentially with darts on a chalkboard. It's a field of weeds. I could go on with the greatest hits. Have you seen the light now on the value of the Greenbelt, or are you just doing this because everyone is completely fed up and angry with your government over your decision?
Well, you know something, I listen to the people when we're out there, and I listen to our caucus, listen to our cabinet, that we made a mistake and we need to move forward. And that's what we're going to do. We aren't going to touch the Greenbelt. We're actually putting over 9,400 more acres into the Greenbelt, the largest expansion of the Greenbelt since it existed. And we're going to grow the Greenbelt like we did prior. It was 2,000 acres larger than when I took office. So now it's going to be 9,400 acres larger than when I took office in 2018.
Okay, so you value the Greenbelt now.
And in returning the land back to the Greenbelt, will the government owe the developers whose lands were removed and that they expected to be able to build houses on anything? And if so, can you explain how much that will cost and if you'll make it public?
Well, we'll make it public, that's for sure. But the minister is working through those details, and they'll be public once we find out. So as we wrap up, folks, you know, I just want to tell you we're going to build as many homes as possible. And again, I want to acknowledge that I made a mistake, and I apologize for that mistake. But we are going to do everything we can for your children, for your grandchildren, for newcomers that are coming into this province that want a roof over their head, want a dream of home ownership that they wouldn't have been able to do if we haven't made these decisions moving forward, no matter if it's a development charges or making it easier to move forward and quicker to get a permit. This would never happen. If we just handed it over and did nothing and left it with municipalities, the housing crisis would get worse. We're doing everything in our powers with the proper intentions to have affordable, attainable homes for people in this province. And I thank you for your understanding. And again, may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you so much.